This is the MTN Noon News.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for joining us on your MTN statewide news this Friday. I'm Janelle Slade. Well, today the state reports 3 more deaths in Rosebud County, a spacious eastern Montana county that has a small population of just about 9,000 people. Now, this brings the state death toll to 147 as we enter the weekend. This as Montana, for a second day in a row, breaks the record of confirmed COVID-19 cases. 224 new active cases reported. In western Montana, both Flathead and Missoula counties add another 39 cases, 31 in Yellowstone County. Moderna says it may meet the November mark to release its coronavirus vaccine. It's a prediction the CDC gave that many other vaccine trial doctors said was unlikely. However, Moderna says volunteers for the trial joined quickly because of high infection rates around its testing sites. It allowed the company to start the trial sooner than expected. Moderna says it will have an independent committee review of its vaccine before it goes to the FDA for approval. Well, some major political drama is unfolding in Montana after Republican state lawmakers called a surprise Rules Committee meeting. Democrats boycotted it, calling it an illegal attempt to undo some of the governor's COVID-19 orders. But the Republicans didn't pass anything. Instead, they're looking to change some legislative rules by allowing all lawmakers to vote even if they aren't in session. Now, they say the move will allow them to break tie votes on bipartisan committees. But Democrats think they have something else in mind.
They're looking to change the rules for them to be able to pass a joint resolution without any committee hearings, without any public input, so that they can tear down the emergency order that is keeping people safe and healthy and protecting our economy.
Republican lawmakers say that's not the reason they want the law to change, but don't deny they would like to consider ways to eventually end the governor's order. Now, the committee will potentially vote on this rule change next week. Well, it's time now to check in on the smoke scene. Meteorologist Ed McIntosh is back in the building today.
It's a good place to be with all the smoke out there, isn't it? Yeah, let's take a look around the state. Let's start off in the Three Forks region. Thanks for sharing this photo of some of the smoky haze as you're going down the interstate there. The sun looks like it's on top of a lamppost as we start looking for that picture from Kurt. And Pat shared this one from around Cody, Wyoming. Some great colors is about all we can make the best of with some of the smoke that's still around. Now, we still have air quality warnings into areas of western Montana and extreme eastern Wyoming, but we're more concerned about new fires starting in areas of southwest Montana today. Tomorrow, that focus will shift over into eastern Wyoming. We'll explain why coming up in a few minutes.
All right, thanks so much, Ed. Well, the Montana Supreme Court has overturned the negligent homicide convictions of a former western Montana doctor. The Montana Supreme Court decided that Chris Christensen's 2 negligent homicide convictions, he threw them out yesterday. Now, the former Florence physician was sentenced to prison for overprescribing drugs to 11 patients, allegedly resulting in 2 deaths. But in Thursday's ruling, the state's highest court said the extra large prescriptions didn't cause the deaths, rather overdoses did. The justices did uphold Christensen's convictions on other felony charges, stating the doctor used his ability to write prescriptions as a pretext to act as a drug dealer. Well, that wasn't the only high-profile case for the state Supreme Court on Thursday. In a 5-0 ruling, justices said Montana jail inmates who are not accused of a felony cannot be strip searched. It overturned a 2018 ruling by a Helena judge when former inmates of the Lewis and Clark Detention Center sued for being illegally strip searched. The case will now go back to the district court for further proceedings. The former inmates want to stop the detention center from continuing its routine strip searches and are seeking financial compensation. Well, for the first time since 1982, the Berkeley Pit has stopped rising. Well, it usually jumps about 6 inches per year, but from September of last year until now, it's level. It's staying put. Well, that's because the pit's toxic water has been pumped and treated for 12 months now. It's good news because the pit was filling up and is only 50 feet below what officials call the protective water level. The next step will be reducing the amount of water in the pit, but officials say that is a slow process and could take some time. Well, judging from the audience for a virtual passenger rail summit yesterday, the idea of bringing passenger trains back to Montana's southern route is creating a lot of interest. Missoula County and a few others set up the summit to establish the Big Sky Rail Authority, the legal entity needed to lobby for the restoration of rail service across southern Montana for the first time in more than 40 years. Now, more than 500 people registered and more than 300 followed the 3-hour session. At the same time, panelists were also concerned about upcoming Amtrak service cuts on the Empire Builder, that's across the High Line. Now, presenters explained how other regions from the southeast to the Cascadia Corridor in Oregon and Washington and British Columbia all benefit from federal funding and organization. Montana backers were urged to organize and follow the money.
Start talking about passenger rail. Everybody wants to know if the train is going to make a profit. And I think if we can start to assess the benefits of rail to the community and start to view this as the investment that it actually is, and to start to see the returns that come to the communities as the taxpayers' return on equity or return on investment, I think we can change the conversation about what.
Now, Matthews said the Empire Builder already generates nearly $5.5 million in direct spending and jobs in Montana, with more than $3 million in direct visitor spending. It's an overall economic impact of nearly $600 million, but he warned that could fall dramatically if Amtrak goes through with service cuts. Well, we have more ahead on your noon news, and that includes taking a swim with a black bear. We'll let you know where this extraordinary swimmer was spotted. But first, Ed McIntosh is in next with your statewide weather forecast.
Our weather pattern. They'll continue to influence the weather here over really the course of tomorrow. The air quality still an issue for somewhat in central Montana with unhealthy air quality there, but the worst conditions, as they have been so often recently, over into western Montana, into the eastern plains of Montana, and especially in northern Wyoming, not as much of a concern here at this point. But as we start getting into the next couple of days, we're going to see a shift in this overall pattern. Still air quality warnings into effect, as we showed you at the top of the newscast. The red flag warnings, though, this is all from smoke that's coming in from other fires. We've got the threat of new fires starting as we're picking up on the southwesterly flow. Now, this deep trough is digging into the Pacific Northwest. We've got this ridge building into the Rocky Mountain West, so that's warming the temperatures up here today. But now that this disturbance is starting to pull in clouds and the potential for showers, it's also increasing the winds. So that's what you see in the blue arrows. And with that increase in winds, the warm temperatures and the low humidity, the fire risk starts to go up. Here's where the smoke is as of today. Now you can see less as we start looking into northeastern Montana towards the Dakotas, the green shaded areas where we have the heavier smoke along the areas of extreme western Idaho, and some of that starting to spill into western Montana as well. So here's the setup for today. We've got the warm temperatures under the ridge, wildfire risk because of that next weather system pushing up, and a cold front starting to come in from the Pacific Northwest. That's what's going to start to get the winds going tonight heading into tomorrow, and also start to increase the cloud cover. Notice the clouds start to pick up here in western Montana and through northern Wyoming through the afternoon, and then will shift across the region. That cold front will move across the area tomorrow, and that gets the winds going through southern Montana and northern Wyoming, and that will increase the fire risk as we look into eastern Wyoming by tomorrow afternoon. Meantime, that cooler air comes in, and check out the chance of showers tomorrow, starting in western Montana earlier in the day, shifting in around Great Falls, Helena, down towards Bozeman during the late afternoon, early evening, and then starting to push into the eastern plains, and it loses some of its energy. So a few stray showers for eastern Montana, and overall bringing a bit of a cool down. Tomorrow could be as warm as the upper 80s to low 90s once we start looking into eastern Montana. So for today, 75 to 85 with those air quality issues and that chance of perhaps some fire risk into southwest Montana. Temperatures overnight into the 40s and 50s in the central and western portion of the state, but 50s to even some low 60s. So tomorrow we could see upper 80s to low 90s across the eastern plains, and that chance of a shower or thunderstorm starts to move in. Western Montana, tomorrow you start to see a downturn in the temperatures. It could be a cool day for you in Missoula with a chance of a shower or thunderstorm, and then leveling off into the 70s early next week. That's close to seasonal averages. Great Falls and Helena, again, that downturn in the temperatures, showers around around the area tomorrow with cooler temperatures on Sunday, especially for you in Helena, before a little bit of an uptick in the temperatures early next week. Butte and Bozeman also looking at least a chance of showers or isolated thunderstorms tomorrow. A real cool down in the temperatures for you around Butte and some cool morning temperatures, especially early next week. And temperatures do take a little downturn on Sunday in eastern Montana, but rebound quickly. There's a look at the weather. Back to you, Janelle.
All right, thanks so much, Ed. Well, a black bear was spotted swimming to Wild Horse Island in Flathead Lake earlier this week. Let's take a look. Photographer Andy Austin tells MTN News he was giving a boat tour when he saw a black speck out in the water. At first he thought it was a duck, but noticed a wake behind the animal, so they moved a little bit closer. Well, sure enough, it was a big old black bear. Pretty darn cute. Well, as a 7-week-old gray wolf pup, Simpson was abandoned by his pack near Condon. Now he calls Zoo Montana home in Billings. MTN's Chris DeRose takes us right inside his new domain.
Most of us remember Simpson when he was first brought to Zoo Montana after being abandoned by his pack. How could anyone leave this little guy behind? But since June, this little guy, well, he's become much bigger.
So Simpson, we've had him for a few months now, and he is just really blossoming. He's starting to really gain the weight. He's up 40 pounds since we originally got him, which is incredible how fast he's grown. He's got big feet. He still has a lot of room to grow. Simpson probably would have not survived if he hadn't been rescued. He was pretty malnutritioned, dehydrated. And so once we got him here, we just started filling him with nutrition, got him good and hydrated, and he's just really doing well.
Simpson isn't the only wolf here at Zoo Montana. There are actually 2 other wolves, a male and a female, brother and sister combo. And the real question is Simpson being accepted by the pack?
We have started introductions with Simpson and our other 2 wolves. We have a male and a female. They're both been here for about 9-10 years. We started with a barrier, lots of licking, smelling, vocals, and then we recently did do a free contact with our male wolf, bringing him into the back holding where Simpson is, and that's all went really well. Simpson's still learning his manners, so Chloe every once in a while just gives him, a little growl, nothing physical, just to let him know he's the boss, and soon Simpson's getting to an appropriate size to be able to add him right out into the exhibit to meet the female also.
Simpson is full of puppy energy and seems to not only love playing, but smelling my camera.
What? My hope for Simpson is just to really just live out his happy life here. He's going to have a great life. He's going to be fed well. He's going to have tons of things to do. We spend a lot of time bonding with him to keep our hands on him for vet work. And he's going to flourish. He's probably going to end up being bigger than the male we have now. He's a big boy.
A big boy who's no doubt going to make a big impression on people who come to see him. Reporting in Billings, Chris DeRose, MTN News.
And thanks so much, Chris. And though he's not ready for his public debut just yet, Zoo Montana expects Simpson to join his new pack habitat very soon. Your latest ag news is next with Lane Nordland. Stay with us.
Work for the Montana Ag Network.
Welcome back for today's Farm and Ranch News. Late Thursday evening, President Trump and USDA announced they are launching a new round of coronavirus relief payments worth up to $14 billion that will be spread over more commodities with new methods of calculating the assistance for farmers and ranchers. That includes more funding for cattle producers.
We're really grateful to USDA and the administration and President Trump's leadership because it means more relief is coming. USDA is using unspent funds in the original coronavirus food assistance program to issue what is going to function as a distinctly separate program they're calling CFAP2. And they'll be providing further relief to cattle producers through this program. And so similar to the CFAP1 Part 2 inventory payments. We're going to see another round of inventory payments coming out. The good news is that this time around, the rate's going to be $55 a head instead of $33 a head. It doesn't get us 100% of the way there, but it's an important next step in the right direction.
For wheat producers, the National Association of Wheat Growers is applauding the package as it now covers all classes of wheat, unlike the first round of CFAP. As for livestock payments, will be based on the maximum owned inventory of eligible livestock on a date selected by the producer between April 16th and August 31st. Breeding stock is excluded in this round of funding, but calves are eligible, as are replacement females that have not produced offspring and males that have not started breeding. Enrollment begins this coming Monday, September 21st, at your local Farm Service Agency office. We'll be right back. As we come back today, results are in for the 95th annual Montana Ram Sale that was held in Miles City. 534 rams averaged $1,541 and some change. Skull Creek Targies out of Jordan had the high-selling ram. That was lot number 98, going for $6,750, bought by the Turner Sheep Company. And finally today, earlier this month, we shared the story of a little cowboy named Grant Heaton of Warden, Montana, who suffers from Duchenne muscular dystrophy. During the Billings Livestock Commission September 17th sale, ranchers donated portions of their sales on 56 head of cattle to help fund research to find a cure.
It's probably the most humbling thing I've ever seen or been a part of, to tell you the truth. Every animal somebody brings into the sale, that's not going on a semi and they want to donate to us, I get that animal's going to a purpose, paying a bill for this or buying feed or fuel or insurance. Man, that's their paycheck for the year. I get that and I so appreciate it, and I can't believe that anybody brings anything in. I mean, it's very humbling that people are willing to help out with a fight for a disease that nobody's really heard of. I mean, I barely have the words for it.
Thank you.
The Calves to Cure DMD event raised just under $19,000 to help find a cure for DMD. You can still help make a difference by visiting Calves to Cure DMD's Facebook page to make a donation. It was very heartwarming to experience this all in person. It really goes to show the value of living here in the last best place. That's today's Farm and Ranch News.
Thanks so much, Lane. Well, after a 2-week closure due to a potential COVID-19 case, the C.M. Russell Museum in Great Falls is open again. People were waiting to get in when the doors opened yesterday. CDC cleaning recommendations were followed to deep clean the museum over the past 2 weeks. The cleaning is not anything the museum doesn't already do, but it was done a little more thoroughly than normal. The executive director says cleaning the museum was actually relatively simple.
It's nothing that we didn't prepare for with adjusted financial forecasts, so the hit is not major. It would have been a more significant hit just to the well-being of our staff if we had put any members of our team at risk or any patrons at risk by virtue of spreading virus.
Now, the closure will have an impact on the budget, but the museum is prepared to handle that impact. The impact of the smoke, I'm not really sure if I can handle it.
We could see a little bit of a relief as we start getting later on into the week. Kalispell, Missoula, you'll definitely see a downturn of the temperatures, and with showers moving in tomorrow, that could be exactly what you're looking for to start to clear out at least the air temporarily. Temperatures will settle into the 70s early next week. Great Falls and Helena also with a chance of showers and thunderstorms. All good news to try to clear things out, but the Sunday could be an especially cool day, especially for you around Helena. Bozeman, Butte also looking at those stray showers and thunderstorms that could help out, but the eastern plains, it could be more about wind, and that could increase fire risk.
Have a great day.